In the previous video, we were able to come up with this slideshow, and like I said, we are going to develop more on this, so we want to make this more interesting. What I like to do is to give each of this picture a caption, right? And in order to just make it interesting and then informative in a way. All right, so for this one, let's say best friends, and for this I'll say selfies. So let us get straight to it. So I'm going to go to my text tool, then I'll type best friends, right, and click on my move tool. My words are in lowercase, so I'd like to change this to uppercase words. And one way of doing that is probably to retype with caps lock, or I can just come to this function here, and this function is all caps. I can just click on it, making sure that I click on my text layer and then click on this, and then to turn everything to all caps. And I like to position it over here. If I play this, yeah, it kind of makes sense because the text, if you check the layer, the text is on top of all the images, so it makes sense that it's revealing. If you remember from our layer hierarchy video class, so I don't want it to be there. I want it to be right on top of image 01. So if I play this now, that covers it up. Yeah, so that is what we are going for. And of course, I want to give this text a bit of contrast, so I'm going to create a shape behind it. I'm going to go with a rounded rectangle. Make sure you click out, make sure nothing is selected, and then you can now start drawing. Right, and I'm going to take my pan the amp point, making sure my layer itself is selected, not this. There's one between selecting this and this. So select your layer itself so that you can have access to your anchor points, and then put it at the center. And of course, the shape layer is on top of everything. So what we need to do is just drag and then put it below the text. So by the time we play this, we have something like this. I wouldn't like this to be static. I would like them to also animating. So I'm going to take the text. I'm going to try and centralize it. I'm going to zoom in some more. So I'm going to then first of all change this to the move tool. I'm going to zoom in, make sure that my text centralize, right, and adjust this. I'm going to take my shape. I'm going to add a simple position animation. So I would like it to come from the left as well, just like the image. But this time around, I want it to happen in 1 second. So I'm going to go in 1 second, press P, position, then click on this because it's already where we want it to be. Then take it back with our time indicator, then drag this out. And of course, you can also drag it from here. If I play this, here we have something like this. Of course, I also like to animate in our text. I like to use a text preset, so I'll go to my effects and presets, then type in there's this one I would like to use, feed upwards, drop on top of my text. If I press U, and I can take this and just make sure they're all in 1 second. So I can align the two at the same time. Apply easy ease, graph editor, align the two together, then squash it, right? So I'm gonna check this, and if I play this now it's looking more interesting. So let me trim my work area, use N to trim it, so it's looking more interesting now, but it can still look more interesting. So let me just take this back a bit, like half second, then take this just a little bit. So let's see, so we can have something really dynamic. So let me just take this back some more. So I think my preset is too fast, so I'm just going to drag this back a bit, or yeah, let me just drag this back a bit, maybe to about 2 seconds. Basically, you just keep tweaking until you get something you're satisfied with. I think fade upwards is working, but I'd like to really change it. I want it to be characters, not words. So what I can do is I'll open up my text. Animator 1 is what is driving this animation, and I'm just going to make sure that it's here where I can see the whole thing. Then delete, then take this back to the beginning of my layer. So if you want to target the beginning of your layer without you trying to manually get it, you can just press I. O is for the end, if you want to target the end of the layer. So I'm going to go to my presets and then type in fade up characters instead. I think this fade up characters here, and then I drag on top of this, press my U, make sure I click on my text layer, then press U, and then drag this a bit. So let me first of all make sure that it's actually 1 second. Right, so let me just drag this so I will know where how to target this. Okay. Right, well, I think I can even leave it at linear keyframe. I think it's not looking bad. Okay, I have to do easy ease now. So if I play this, okay, I think that's looking very interesting. So I'm just tweaking it until I get what I really want, and I think this is really looking cool. So basically, you know, there's no rule to these things. You just keep tweaking until you get something that feels right. For me, this is already looking good and feeling good as well. One other thing I would like to do is I would like to reduce the opacity of this shape. Before I do that, I would like to rename this. Let me say text 01 BG background, right? And I'm going to click on this, press T. T is the shortcut for opacity. So I'm going to reduce this. Let's say about 60%. All right. Just to stylize it a little bit. Yeah, I think this is working so far, right? Now I like to just try and tidy things up. I'm going to click on the text and hold down shift and click image 01 so it will select shape as well, and I press U to snap it. So, and I can also zoom out, take this out, and just to tidy things up. So I know that this very first 3 is the first scene before we get to the second scene. So let me just play this. Right, this is looking good. So we're going to do the same thing for image 2 and image 3. So I'm going to come here. So I'll actually like to go a bit faster now. It's just the same concept. So one thing I can do is I can duplicate my text, right? So to do that, you can go to edit and then duplicate. The shortcut is Command D. For Windows is Control D. So I'm going to click this and then Command D, and then drag this on top, right? And I can just put this somewhere here. Since there's no position keyframe, you can just drag this here and then double click on it, then type selfie. And of course, take the selfie and the shape, drag it on above the image too. So we need to drag this back a bit, just the same way we have it here, right? And if I play this now, best friend. Okay, so we need to animate the shape as well. So for this, I'm just going to do a simple animation. So I'm going to go in 4 seconds. So let me zoom in some more. Make sure it's 4 seconds here. Then just click on my stopwatch. Then press I to target the beginning of the shape layer, and then reduce this to 0. Put in the 0 value, and of course I can highlight this. You guessed it, easy is. Yeah, you can apply different kind of curve you want. So I'm just using this because I really want to go fast with this, and I think it's one of the best curves. It actually simulates the way things really move, slow, fast, and really slow down towards the end. So if I play this now, I think you can take this a bit further down. Yeah, and of course the opacity, I'll press T and type in the value 60. Alright, so if I play this now again, Okay, I think it's making sense. So I'm going to take this text again, I'm going to duplicate it, put it above of image 3, drag this somewhere here, and so this I'm going to just name it smile. So I'm going to change the direction of this, right? So I'm going to name this smiles, right? Click on the move icon, click on the move tool, and maybe it's somewhere here, and I can just duplicate the shape too as well. Let me just make it text 02BG, right? I'm going to duplicate this, Control D to duplicate, drop it up above the image, right? I'm going to rename this, press enter, just rename this to text 03BG, and I'm going to adjust this, put this at the center where we can see the smile well, right? I'm going to drag this back. So I would like to do something different with this text. So I'm going to open up this text, go to my text, go to animator 1, then delete. So let me zoom in some more. That was too much. So let's say in about 7 seconds, I'll add a scale animation to this. Then I'll press I to target the beginning of it, then just squash it down to 0. I like this too. Easy ease, graph editor, and then do this. So I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna play this now, and we should have this. I think that's too fast, so we need to take these 2 layers and drag it a bit backward. All right. Okay. So we've been able to successfully create our slideshow, giving it caption. So before we go, I would like to do one last thing, right? I'm going to try and arrange them so that we can have a visual representation of what we see on our composition. And for me to do that, I want you to click on your text and on your image, then go to where we have this color, click once, then change the color to this to cyan. You can see that they're all the same color, right? So click on the second set, shift click on the image so you can select all within this set, and then click this, change this to brown, and then you can actually choose any color that you want. So I'm just choosing random ones. So do the same thing for this set, click on this, then change this to pink. Hold on, let me highlight everything, then press U. Control A to highlight everything, then press U to snap everything all together. So from here, we've been able to visually represent what we have on our composition. And one other thing I would like to do before we go as well, I like to highlight everything and press U, and I want you to notice something, that as soon as the second image, which is this image, covers this up at this point, from here to here, from this point downward for this second set is not needed anymore. And it's good to always try and trim our layers to where it's revealing, to where it stops revealing. So what I'll do is I'm just going to click on the very first set, press U. So I'm going to try and trim this layer. So there are 2 ways of you to do that. You can just target one of it and then start trimming it down, or better still, let me take this back, you can use the shortcut Alt back bracket, and that trims it. So I'm going to select the next one too, and then for the last one I think we can just leave it because that's like the last thing there. So now we have a visual representation of what we have on our composition, and also doing some organization and you know, and just tidying things up. All right, so we are not done with this slideshow. We are still going to develop more on this. We'd like to introduce you to blend modes and other assets that can make your work really look good.